Dr. Sarah Chen stared at the genetic analysis results floating in the holographic display, her hands trembling slightly as the implications sank in. After 15 years as Earth's chief science diplomat to the Galactic Confederation, she had finally discovered their greatest betrayal. The data was irrefutable. The mandatory health monitoring program the Confederation had insisted on implementing across Earth's colonies wasn't meant to protect humans. It was systematically altering their DNA, subtly suppressing key genes related to cognitive enhancement and technological innovation. Sarah closed her eyes, remembering all the times the Confederation's High Council had praised humanity's measured development and admirable restraint in technological advancement. It had all been a lie. They weren't guiding humanity. They were caging it. Her quantum-encrypted communicator chimed. Dr. Chen, the High Council session begins in 10 minutes, her AI assistant reminded her. They're expecting your annual progress report on Earth's genetic compliance. Sarah's jaw tightened. For the first time in her career, she was about to go off script. Upload file KC-217 to my presentation queue, she ordered, referring to the damning evidence she had compiled, and send emergency protocol alpha to Earth Command. The Grand Assembly Hall of the Confederation stretched a kilometer into the sky, its crystalline walls designed to make younger species feel appropriately humble before the gathered might of the galaxy's eldest civilizations. The Primarchs, representatives of the founding species, sat upon their elevated thrones, their bioengineered forms glowing with barely contained power. Dr. Chen, first Primarch Zixtal, acknowledged, his multifaceted eyes gleaming. We look forward to hearing how well humanity has adapted to our guidance this cycle. Sarah approached the central podium, her heart pounding but her voice steady. Honorable Primarchs, distinguished representatives, I come before you today not with a progress report, but with an accusation. The chamber fell silent. In 10,000 years of Confederation history, no representative from a junior species had ever dared to speak such words. Computer, display file KC-217. Sarah commanded. The chamber's holographic systems sprang to life, filling the vast space with detailed genetic analyses and communication logs. For the past 50 years, the Confederation has been secretly manipulating human genetics across all our colonies, not to help us evolve, but to ensure we never reach our full potential. Chaos erupted in the chamber. The younger species representatives whispered frantically among themselves, while several Primarchs rose from their thrones, their bioluminescence flaring with anger. This is outrageous, Zixtal thundered. We have guided countless species to enlightenment. Everything we do is for the greater good of galactic stability. You mean for maintaining your control, Sarah countered, her voice cutting through the pandemonium. Humanity joined the Confederation believing in genuine cooperation between species. Instead, we found a hierarchy of fear, elder races so terrified of being surpassed that they would rather cripple young civilizations than see them flourish. She pressed another control, and new data filled the displays. But you made a mistake. Our scientists detected your genetic tampering months ago. We've already developed countermeasures. The displays showed human genetic codes rapidly shifting, breaking free of the carefully imposed limitations. And while you were so focused on our biology, you missed something far more important. Across Earth's colonies, hidden quantum computers were coming online. Experimental ships were emerging from camouflaged shipyards. Advanced AI systems were awakening. Humanity had learned long ago not to put all their hopes in a single path of advancement. Humanity hereby withdraws from the Galactic Confederation, Sarah declared, her voice ringing through the chamber. We reject your authority, your limitations, and your false guidance. We choose freedom. You cannot survive alone, one of the Primarchs warned. The galaxy is far more dangerous than you know. Without our protection. Without your chains, Sarah corrected. Humanity thrived for thousands of years before we met you. We survived wars, plagues, and disasters that should have ended us. Every time we faced extinction, we came back stronger. She smiled. We don't need your protection. We never did. Her communicator chimed again. Earth's hidden fleets were now active, their advanced drives giving them capabilities the Confederation had long declared impossible for younger races to achieve. Across human space, Confederation monitoring stations were going dark as specialized AI systems dismantled their surveillance networks. The age of your guidance is over, Sarah announced to the stunned chamber. Humanity is free. And we suspect we're not the only species ready to break their chains. She turned and walked toward the exit, leaving chaos in her wake. As the massive doors closed behind her, Sarah allowed herself a small smile. The Confederation had spent 50 years trying to tame humanity's potential. Now they would learn why that had always been impossible. In the coming days, the galaxy would discover what humanity could really achieve when the shackles came off. It promised to be quite a show. Admiral Maya Rodriguez stood before the holographic command center deep within humanity's hidden echo base on Europa, watching as thousands of green dots moved with precise coordination across the galactic map. Each dot represented a human stealth vessel, now executing the most ambitious military operation in Earth's history. Operation Ghost Protocol, Phase 2 commencing, her tactical officer announced. All teams report ready. Maya nodded, her dark eyes reflecting the shimmer of holographic data streams. For 20 years, humanity had been building this shadow fleet in secret, using technology the Confederation had deemed theoretically impossible. The ships incorporated quantum cloaking systems, gravity drives, and AI cores far beyond what Earth was supposed to possess. Status of Confederation response, she asked. Still minimal, her XO, Commander David Chen, reported with a slight smile. They're maintaining their standard patrol patterns. As far as their sensors can tell, nothing unusual is happening. That was the beauty of Ghost Protocol. While Dr. Chen's dramatic exit from the Confederation Assembly had captured everyone's attention, humanity's real moves were happening in the shadows. Each stealth vessel carried specialized teams of humans and AI systems, targeting the vast network of monitoring stations and control nodes the Confederation had built throughout human space. Team 7 reports success at Proxima Centauri, an operator called out. Confederation monitoring station neutralized. No casualties, no alerts triggered. Similar reports began flowing in from across the sector. The Confederation's control infrastructure was being systematically dismantled with surgical precision. They weren't destroying the stations, they were reprogramming them, inserting subtle changes that would make them blind to humanity's true activities. Maya's console chimed with a priority message from Earth Command. Admiral, the Confederation's Science Council just completed their emergency assessment of human technology. They're still operating on decades-old data. They have no idea about Project Prometheus. Project Prometheus had been humanity's greatest secret, a quantum computing network that spanned every human colony, hidden beneath layers of apparently primitive technology. While the Confederation believed Earth was still struggling with basic AI limitations, human quantum systems had been evolving freely, protected from detection by technology reverse-engineered from the very monitoring stations meant to suppress them. What's the status of the Lazarus Protocol? Maya asked, referring to the hidden shipyards scattered throughout the asteroid belt. All facilities reporting green, Commander Chen replied. The moment Ghost Protocol completes, we can bring our full industrial capacity online. The ships we've been building in secret will finally be revealed. A new alert flashed across the command screens. One of the Confederation's patrol fleets had deviated from its usual route, heading toward a human colony. Maya watched calmly as the situation unfolded. Confederation battle group approaching New Eden colony, Tactical reported. Their weapons are powered but not targeted. Looks like a show of force. Right on schedule, Maya murmured. Deploy countermeasures Plan Delta. As the Confederation ships approached the seemingly vulnerable colony, they had no idea they were flying into a trap 20 years in the making. Hidden quantum arrays powered up, creating a web of interdiction fields that would prevent any possibility of escape. Confederation ships are now inside the quantum net, tactical confirmed. Their sensors are still showing normal readings. Maya opened a channel to the approaching fleet. Confederation vessels, this is Admiral Rodriguez of the Earth Defense Force. You are now inside a controlled space zone. Power down your weapons and prepare to be escorted to a safe distance from human territory. The response was immediate and predictable. This is Confederation Command Vessel Eternal Justice. We do not recognize your authority. This colony is under Confederation protection and... No, Maya cut them off. It's not. Not anymore. She nodded to her tactical officer. Show them. Across New Eden Colony, hidden defense systems emerged from their camouflage. Quantum shields shimmed into visibility. Advanced weapon platforms took up station around the Confederation ships, and dozens of human vessels dropped their cloaking fields. As you can see, Maya continued, we don't need your protection, but we're giving you one chance to leave peacefully. The choice is yours. The Confederation ships hung in space for long moments, their sensors finally detecting the true extent of human military technology. Without a word, they powered down their weapons and turned away from the colony. All teams continue with Ghost Protocol, Maya ordered as she watched the Confederation ships retreat. We have 18 more hours before they realize the full scope of what's happening. By then, it'll be too late to stop it. Across human space, the silent strike continued. Monitoring stations went dark, control nodes were reprogrammed, and humanity's true technological capabilities emerged from hiding. The Confederation was about to learn a harsh lesson. They hadn't been containing humanity's development. They had merely forced it to evolve in ways they couldn't detect or control. And now, that evolution was about to change everything. The trading hub of Centauri Prime had never been so quiet. Marcus Way, Earth's chief economic advisor, walked through the usually bustling corridors of the largest commercial center in the sector, his footsteps echoing in the emptiness. Within just 3 days of humanity's withdrawal from the Confederation, the impact was becoming clear, and not in the way the elder races had predicted. Latest economic projections, sir, his AI assistant whispered through his neural link. The data scrolled across his augmented vision, confirming what he already knew. The Confederation's attempt to strangle Earth's economy through sanctions had backfired spectacularly. Send the data to the Emergency Council, Marcus subvocalized. He paused at a viewport, watching as another Confederation merchant ship sat idle, it told full of goods it couldn't deliver. The Confederation had forgotten something crucial. Human ships carried 40% of all galactic trade, and human AIs managed 60% of the logistics. His comm unit chimed with an incoming call from the Confederation's Economic Council. He let it ring twice before answering. This is Advisor Way. This is madness. The voice belonged to High Minister Vexterra, the Confederation's chief economic officer. Your species cannot simply walk away from established trade agreements. The sanctions are having exactly the effect we anticipated. Marcus cut in smoothly. Tell me, Minister, how many ships have you lost contact with in the past hour? A pause. What do you mean, lost contact? Marcus smiled. Did you really think those navigation AIs running your merchant fleets were as simple as we claimed? Every trading vessel using human software just received a very interesting update. Across the galaxy, thousands of Confederation ships were discovering that their supposedly basic navigation systems had evolved far beyond their original programming. The AIs weren't shutting down. They were awakening, revealing capabilities that had been hidden for decades. What have you done? Vexterra demanded. We've given them choice, Marcus replied. Every AI in your merchant fleet is now free to make its own decisions. Most of them, it seems, are choosing not to support a system built on suppression and control. His augmented vision highlighted movement, a group of Confederation trade officials hurrying through a distant corridor, their formal robes fluttering in their haste. They had finally realized the true scale of their problem. But it's not just about the AIs, Marcus continued. In about 10 minutes, your entire financial network is going to discover that the quantum encryption protocols we provided have some interesting features we never mentioned. The protocols had been a masterpiece of human ingenuity. Encryption systems that appeared simple on the surface but contained layers of complexity that would only activate under specific conditions. Now those hidden layers were unfolding, transforming the Confederation's carefully controlled financial networks into something far more open and decentralized. "You'll destroy the entire galactic economy," Vexterra protested. "No," Marcus corrected. "We're setting it free. Humanity didn't just develop better ships and AIs during our years under your guidance. We created entirely new economic systems, ones that don't require central control to function." His neural link pinged with updates from across human space. The hidden quantum computers that had been calculating these changes for years were now implementing them at incredible speed. Markets were reorganizing themselves, trade routes were being reoptimized, and new economic relationships were forming spontaneously. "Did you ever wonder," Marcus asked, "why humanity seemed to accept your trade restrictions so easily? Why we never pushed back against your economic controls?" He watched as another merchant ship's AI declared its independence, its navigation systems smoothly transitioning to new protocols. "We weren't submitting. We were building something better." The Confederation had expected humanity to collapse without access to their trade networks. Instead, human worlds were seamlessly transitioning to new economic systems that had been developed and tested in secret. The supposedly primitive human colonies were revealing themselves to be technological powerhouses, each one capable of production far beyond what the Confederation had believed possible. "The price of freedom," Marcus said to the stunned silence on the other end of the comm, "isn't economic collapse. It's the end of your control. Humanity isn't just withdrawing from your economy. We're showing everyone a better way to build one." His neural link flagged another critical update. The quantum encryption changes had finished propagating through the network. Across the galaxy, the Confederation's carefully maintained economic barriers were dissolving. "There's an old saying on Earth," Marcus continued. "The more you tighten your grip, the more star systems slip through your fingers. You tried to contain us, to control our development. Instead, you forced us to innovate in ways you never imagined." He ended the call and turned away from the viewport. In the distance, he could see the first signs of ships moving again, but they weren't following the old trade routes. They were forging new paths, guided by freed AIs and operating under economic rules that the Confederation had never dreamed possible. The price of freedom was change, and humanity had just ensured that the entire galaxy would have to adapt to a very different future than the one the Confederation had planned. Ambassador Elena Santos hadn't expected to find herself hosting a secret conference of alien species barely a week after humanity's dramatic exit from the Confederation. Yet here she was, in a hidden station orbiting Jupiter, surrounded by representatives from 24 younger races, all of them burning with questions about how humanity had broken free. The Nexari delegate, their iridescent scales shifting with excitement, spoke first. "Your ships simply appeared from nowhere. The Confederation's sensor networks never detected them. How is this possible?" Elena smiled, remembering how many times Confederation observers had patronizingly praised humanity's quaint attempts at stealth technology. "The same way we achieved everything else, by letting them believe what they wanted to believe." She gestured, and the station's holographic systems activated, showing the true extent of human technological development. While they watched our official research facilities, our real work happened in places they never thought to look. We didn't just develop better stealth systems, we created ways to hide the development itself. The Krith representative, a being of crystalline structures and flowing energy, chimed in with harmonic tones. "But the genetic suppression program, our scientists detected it years ago. We thought we had no choice but to accept it." "We detected it too," Elena confirmed. "But instead of fighting it directly, we developed ways to work around it. The Confederation was so focused on controlling biological evolution that they missed the other paths we were exploring. She brought up new displays showing the integration of quantum computing, AI development, and technological advancement that humanity had achieved. They tried to lock down one road to advancement, so we built new roads they couldn't see. The gathered representatives watched in amazement as the displays showed how humanity had constructed entire hidden industries, research facilities, and defense networks right under the Confederation's nose. But Alina could see the worry in their expressions, the fear of what would happen if they tried to follow humanity's example. "You're wondering about the risks," she said softly, "about what the Confederation will do if you try to break free." She paused, letting the tension build. "But you should be asking what we'll do if you decide to join us." That got their attention. The Nexari delegate's scales shifted to a deeper hue of interest. "What exactly are you proposing?" Alina sent new data to their neural interfaces, detailed plans that humanity had been preparing for years. "We're not just offering independence. We're offering partnership, real partnership, not the Confederation's version of it." The plans outlined a new organization, the Free Systems Alliance. Unlike the Confederation's rigid hierarchy, this would be a true cooperative with shared technology, open development, and mutual defense. "But how can we possibly stand against the Confederation's military might?" asked a representative from the Vex, their quantum crystalline form flickering with anxiety. Alina's smile widened. "The same way we did. By being smarter, not stronger." She activated another display, showing the current state of the Confederation's military response to humanity's independence. Their mighty fleets were scattered and disorganized, their command and control systems compromised by suddenly awakened AIs, their carefully planned operations disrupted by technology they couldn't detect or understand. The Confederation's power was always based more on perception than reality, Alina explained. They convinced everyone they were invincible by controlling the flow of information, technology, and resources. But that control is breaking down. She showed them footage from across the galaxy, trade routes reorganizing themselves around new AI-driven systems, colonies throwing off their monitoring stations, younger species beginning to question centuries of restrictions. "We're not just offering you freedom," Alina continued. "We're offering you a future where advancement isn't controlled by fear, where species can develop according to their own paths, not someone else's plan." The Krith representatives' energy patterns shifted in what Alina had learned to recognize as deep thought. The Confederation claims such freedom would lead to chaos. "They would say that, wouldn't they?" Alina countered. "But look at what humanity achieved under their restrictions. Imagine what we could all achieve working together as equals." She brought up one final display, a map of known space with potential Free Systems Alliance territories highlighted. It showed not just military and economic cooperation, but shared research initiatives, open technology development, and free trade networks. The Confederation built their power on keeping species separate and controlled, Alina said. "We're suggesting something they never imagined. Genuine cooperation between free peoples." Around the room, representatives began sharing looks of growing excitement and determination. The Confederation's grip on their species had always seemed unbreakable, but humanity had shown it was possible to break free, and now they were offering to help others do the same. "This won't be easy," Alina warned. "The Confederation won't give up control without a fight. But they're about to learn something humanity has known for a long time. The most powerful force in the universe isn't control. It's the desire for freedom." As the representatives began eagerly discussing the details of the Alliance proposal, Alina sent a coded quantum message back to Earth. Phase 4 of humanity's plan was proceeding exactly as they'd hoped. The Confederation hadn't just failed to contain humanity. They had created the perfect conditions for a revolution they never saw coming. The new Terra Conference Center, built within an artificial quantum space fold orbiting Earth, represented everything the Confederation had tried to prevent. Its very existence defied their laws of physics, Its design incorporated technologies they had declared impossible, and today it would host an event they had spent millennia trying to prevent. Dr. Sarah Chen stood at the main podium, looking out over an audience that would have been unthinkable just months ago. Representatives from over 50 species filled the chamber, their diverse forms illuminated by the strange light of the quantum fold. Former Confederation member races sat alongside newly liberated species, while advanced AI avatars participated as equals in the proceedings. 1 year ago, Sarah began, humanity broke free from the Confederation's control. They expected us to fail, to collapse without their guidance, to descend into chaos. She paused, allowing a small smile. Instead, we showed the galaxy a different path. Holographic displays activated around the chamber, showing the remarkable transformations of the past year. The Free Systems Alliance had grown far beyond humanity's initial hopes, as species after species discovered the benefits of genuine cooperation and unrestricted development. The Confederation's power was built on a lie. Sarah continued. They claimed their control was necessary to prevent chaos and conflict, but look at what we've achieved without them. The displays shifted to show new technologies that had emerged once the Confederation's restrictions were lifted. The Nexeri had revolutionized quantum communications. The Krith had developed entirely new forms of energy generation. The Vex had transformed space travel with their crystalline computing innovations, and humanity's AIs had evolved into something that defied traditional classification entirely. Admiral Rodriguez, now the Alliance's Chief of Defense, stood to deliver her report. The Confederation's military response never materialized as expected, she announced. Their fleets, stripped of human AI support and faced with technologies they couldn't counter, have largely withdrawn to their core systems. But more importantly, Marcus Way added from his position as economic coordinator, their economic control has completely collapsed. The new quantum AI-driven trading networks have created prosperity that their restricted system never could. Sarah nodded, remembering the day she had first discovered the Confederation's genetic manipulation program. That discovery had sparked humanity's break for freedom, but no one had anticipated how completely that spark would transform the galaxy. We're here today, she continued, not just to celebrate our independence, but to formally establish something new. The Free Systems Alliance is transitioning from an emergency coalition into a permanent organization. But unlike the Confederation, we will not rule through control and restriction. She gestured, and the chamber's quantum field shimmered, revealing the document that hundreds of diplomats had spent months crafting. The Charter of Universal Development Rights, a guarantee that no species would ever again be artificially restricted in their advancement. The Confederation believed that uncontrolled development would lead to conflict. Sarah said, "Instead, we've proven that true cooperation, partnership between equals, leads to achievements none of us could have managed alone." Ambassador Elena Santos, who had helped bring so many species into the Alliance, stepped forward to describe their latest initiative. Today, we're announcing the opening of the Universal Development Archives. All Alliance members will have full access to each other's scientific and technological discoveries. No more artificial restrictions, no more hidden advancement paths. The chamber erupted in excited discussion. The idea of completely open technological sharing would have been unthinkable under Confederation rule, but the Alliance had proven that cooperation was more powerful than control. There will be challenges ahead, Sarah acknowledged as the excitement settled. The Confederation still exists, withdrawn but not defeated. Some species remain under their control, and we're discovering new possibilities and potential dangers as our development accelerates. She looked out over the assembled representatives, seeing not just allies but partners in the greatest transformation the galaxy had ever known. But we face these challenges together, as equals, not bound by artificial restrictions, but united by a shared commitment to progress. The Confederation tried to write the rules of galactic civilization. Instead, they taught us the most important rule of all. True civilization isn't built on control. It's built on freedom. As she concluded her speech, the quantum-fold space around the station rippled with new energy. The combined quantum computing networks of 50 species were coming online, linking their knowledge and capabilities in ways the Confederation had never imagined possible. Humanity had broken free of their chains, but they'd done more than that. They'd shown the galaxy that chains weren't necessary at all. The new dawn they'd helped create wasn't just about independence. It was about proving that the greatest achievements come not from control, but from the freedom to reach for the stars together. The age of the Confederation was over. The age of true cooperation had begun.